that's not right because this is episode 7. So way to go, Brandon. Welcome to the second to last TV spot.
No, we record 7 and 8 together though. The last two.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Well, you could do last two.
My bad.
I don't make mistakes.
Sean was just like, "Gotcha, yo,
gotcha, motherfucker." All right, welcome to the last special TV episode of 3.5 Gentlemen for 2022. We're the podcast where 3 of the 4 hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections. One of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and with me, as always, are my excellent co-hosts, Jeremiah.
Wolf out, yo.
Eddie.
I enjoy funerals. I've been trashing them for a while.
And Brandon.
I think I'm on Team Xavier now. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I bet you are, dude.
You're a wiffle waffler.
Yeah, pick a side, ass.
Yeah, flip flopper, yo.
Yeah. Well, guys, before we dive into season 4 of our podcast next month, we're finishing this calendar year by taking a look at one of the most popular Netflix TV shows ever.
As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question. How many drinks does it take to get through the film, or in this case, the show that we just watched? Now, at the end of the podcast, we'll rate each episode based on a scale of 0 to 5, with 0 being the perfect episode that you can watch it stone cold sober, and 5 being the sort of episode that makes you want to get your throat ripped out by a high monster. Gentlemen, I apologize for my voice. I'm trying to recover from a fucking cold, and I sound very.
I think you sound a little smooth jazz, like you could host
103.7 The Wave.
With that, what show do we have creepy crawling its way into our hearts and minds this evening, gentlemen? Just so you know, there's another error there in the script.
There is another error.
Gotcha.
Sean is so much better at this than me. I think he should take over duties again.
No. Eddie is frozen on my screen, and he is the most unflattering. It is the most unflattering.
Very disturbing. The face looks like Tyler's face before he turns to a hide.
Oh god, there we lost him. I was just gonna take a picture of. Oh shit. Well, we'll get him back in a second. Anyway, tonight we finish off season 1 of Wednesday because we know that there is inevitably going to be a season 2, which at the time of this recording has over 1 billion hours watched by viewers like us. This season follows Wednesday Addams as she settles into life at the prestigious Nevermore boarding school, where various outcasts of society, including vampires, werewolves, sirens, and bee whisperers, learn to exist within the world around them and harness their powers. While at Nevermore, Wednesday finds herself at the center of a murder mystery involving students from the school and members of the neighboring town. Episodes 7 and 8 finds us at the end of the season, where the monster is finally revealed and the fate of the students of Nevermore are put to the test. The season has an IMDb score of 8.3, which is just to let you guys know is steadily going down over these last couple weeks, and an average critic score of 72% and an audience score of 86% on Rotten Tomatoes.
All right. You know, I see what you're saying, yo.
This one went up better than the last ones.
I was looking at the overall.
What he's saying is overall scores got down.
So, what do you guys think of Uncle Fester, by the way?
So I have mixed feelings about Fester. If that's where we're going to start, I really absolutely love Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd is one of the bright spots of the original shows. The original movies. He is the perfect Uncle Fester, and I feel like Fred Armisen. Is that?
Yeah, Fred Armisen.
Right? Yeah, he didn't quite get there for me. He didn't quite embrace enough of the character, and I don't know if it was not visually proper. It was not acting proper. Like there was something that just didn't hit for me. And I'm curious what you guys think.
Yeah, so I know that I'm just going to open up the floodgates here. You guys are going to hate me by the end of the episode. But we're going to start with Fred Armisen. I'm not a huge Fred Armisen fan to start with. I think some things in Portlandia are funny. I think some things in SNL when he was in that was funny. But in general, I'm not a Fred Armisen fan. And as soon as I saw him literally open his mouth, I thought, God, this is ruining Fester. And over the whole course of that episode, I really felt even more disconnected from the show and from the characters because of Fred Armisen. I think that it was an absolutely horrible choice of casting. And I think that the reason is that Fred Armisen was playing too much of Fred Armisen, right? When you watch Chris Lloyd play Fester, you're not watching Christopher Lloyd, who I think is an amazing, wonderful actor who can shapeshift into any different role. But with Fred Armisen, you're watching Fred Armisen play his same damn character from all of the different skits that he plays, and it just doesn't work. Jer.
I actually thought it was a funny, weird, interesting approach because this Uncle Fester, it's not going to be like Christopher Lloyd. Come on, man. No. You fucking nailed that fucking role. It's like certain for life, But for this one, it just reminded me like he kind of seemed like a little psychotic in this fucking series, Like it felt like he was a fucking a maniac, dude. And it almost reminded me
like
of
escape from escape convict. Yeah.
Like it just seemed like he was just off edge. It reminded me of Heath Ledger's Joker. Not, I'm saying it's not the same performance. I'm saying like the weirdest vibe and how he's just animatic with how he talks and everything like that. I thought it was kind of weird, man, but interesting.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It's not so much cutesy as it is.
Eddie, what do you think?
I think he was really corny. He was something about the character. He didn't nail the character down. I think that's probably bad. I don't know what Brian was saying. Is just not the right actor for the right spot. I mean, I know no one can do Christopher Lloyd, but there's other choices I would have done instead of this Fred guy. I feel like he was trying too hard, and his jokes came across corny, and it wasn't believable that he was even Uncle Fester. I expect more of Uncle Fester, more of a pop, and he had no pop. It was just these dull jokes that weren't landing for me.
So I don't necessarily agree with Brandon in his. I mean, you dislike Fred Armisen. I can disagree with that. Yeah. But as an actor, there's times where I really do enjoy him. He was wonderful on the show Parks and Recreation. He played like a visiting admiral from a different country, and so when he gets in his right role, I think he's fantastic. Much like Jim Carrey in that way, where I think if Jim Carrey plays a Jim Carrey role, he's good. But every time he departs from that, it doesn't feel right. Yeah. And he overplays.
I think it was too much to ask for him to do this role in a way, because it was just almost like you're going to size him up with Christopher Lloyd. It's an almost impossible task. And I do respect for what he was trying to do, man. He was trying to do more of a psychotic type of a fucking Uncle Fester. I mean, that's the problem.
But the problem is, though, when you see Fester show up, I mean, I'm not saying that he's everybody's favorite character, but he's one of, I think, the iconic characters in the Addams Family. So when he shows up, I think every single person sees that and gets excited. And you're right, Jerry, you're right. That's a heavy load to carry, and you really can't throw that on him. And I'm not saying that he has to be Christopher Lloyd, but what I am saying is, and also, I let me just maybe preface it with, I don't think that the problem with Fester was necessarily Fred Armisen. And I'm not a huge Fred Armisen, but I don't hate him. I think the problem was really with the writing. And Eddie, you hit it on the head, right? The jokes were trying too hard. He, as an actor, was trying to play it off and to me, in this kind of cutesy, psychotic cutesy, but kind of flippant way. Maybe flippant's a better word. And to me, it just doesn't land.
And what's really upsetting about it to me is you had an opportunity here to do something pretty magical.
Yes.
Because I know a lot of people don't like Luis Guzman as Gomez, but at least he has this beautiful connection with Wednesday. And there are such wonderful scenes that he has. Even if you don't like him, you can still appreciate the acting underneath. Yeah. Here, you had kind of a great introduction, right? So you've got our favorite character of the entire show in peril being plunged through the palm with a knife. Mm-hmm. And you have him as the perfect person to save thing. And it almost like it was, I don't know, it was childish. It was flippant. There was no depth to his character.
Yes,
I actually, I'm gonna go on record here. I would actually love to see like a spinoff of Thing and Uncle Fester, just regarding to their stories and what they were doing back before the whole thing. I think that was fucking hilarious, dude. I mean, I actually enjoy that scene that they have this history and shit.
I almost also want to go off as like I would have enjoyed it a lot more if they never even brought Uncle Fester in.
Agreed. But I feel like they need to.
His story had no depth to. Yeah, everyone's expecting him, so it's like, you have to have Uncle Fester. But overall, like, episode 7, out of the last 2 episodes,
Yeah.
I feel like it wasn't enough. It was too late, and then I also just don't think I almost just didn't care for him in this series.
Well, it's true. We didn't see Cousin It, right? We didn't see him, so I
Right.
guess we didn't.
Next season.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you could have done this with a crystal ball to Granny. You could have done this with because what they were trying to establish, right, was that Uncle Fester was well worldly. He knew his monsters. He knew what was kind of going on in the world.
He's seen some
And
shit.
He gave a little bit more help to Wednesday with finding the hide. What the monster is? Oh, that's a hide.
Right. But I think that could have been done by almost any person, including Pugsley. I think you could have brought Pugsley into this.
Granny was a great call, Sean. That would have been, I think, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it would, this, like Eddie said, I don't think Fester himself was the right person to put into this position. And Fred Armisen, to me, just didn't hit. It just didn't hit. But let's move off the negative, because there were a lot of good positive things too.
Let's put it this way: the motorcycle scene with Wednesday and Uncle Fester. I mean, that was a good throwback to the original. I thought that was pretty fucking funny and it just quirky, and it had that Addams Family vibe to it. So I actually really dug that shit. Getting into the town of Jericho and seeing Tyler and Tyler's motives. I mean, shit, fuck.
Yeah, we got to talk about
see that
Tyler.
coming or what?
Yeah,
let's talk
about that. Oh, okay. I want somebody else to start. I've got negatives, so let's hear somebody start positive.
You got negatives yet?
I got so many fucking negatives.
You're not all about like a picnic inside a crypt?
Okay, no, I didn't know we were going there. That was actually really, really cool. And
that would have got me. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. No, my problem comes with Tyler in end of this season.
How is Tyler okay with all this though? Like, is he just so used to Jericho that like this is the life he has? He has vampires in his life and like werewolves.
I don't think he knows
he's just this normie. He does know. He obviously sees Wednesday at the school, and he knows that he sees Thane, the hand walking around a lot. Like he knows about Thane, right?
So true.
Like I'm just wondering.
Wait. Forgive me. I think he does know it because on episode 8, it was revealed that his mother actually went to Nevermore, and so it's kind of like a little shock to him. Like,
but I think that we got to look at the whole town. Everybody looks at these outsiders, and I mean, they all know that they're monsters. They may not know the specific type of monsters, but or Ed, I think that they all look at him and they're like, oh well, it's just another day in Jericho.
I wish they talked about that. Yeah, I wish they talked about it a little bit more. I just feel like they never talked about like I don't know. It seemed I'm almost at this point like Tyler is trying really hard. That's his character. I like his character, but I can tell like he's really trying to hook up with Wednesday, right? I mean, like he likes her a lot, and he's going above and beyond. And I think that I start getting the feeling that he's going. There's a motive behind it. I started thinking,
ruining
why is he trying so hard?
Yeah. Are we spoiling it at this point? I mean, we might as well.
No, I mean, you see it at the end of this episode where you see Thing getting stabbed. I mean, there was a reason why he brought her to the crypt.
What I also loved, and this maybe is too deep for the show, is that the monster is a hide, right? So what is a hide? Cool. So a hide is made up of, in my mind, I went immediately to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yes. You've got two characters. You've got two parallels. You've got two things going on. It like introduced this idea of two, and I think that was pretty fucking brilliant to have a Hyde be the overall arching villain.
So the question though is did Tyler truly care about Wednesday, or was it all a motive to just get this revenge plot on Nevermore?
Revenge plot.
Yeah.
I think it was actually a bit of both. It's kind of like, was he like, Lord Vader in a way, or was he the Winter Soldier in a way, or he's being told to do something and not being aware of it, In the end, he's kind of like, I was always aware of it, I love the feeling, but is that really him being the bad guy, or is that him just being still kind of like, possessed?
I don't think he's possessed. But he's definitely influenced. And that influence, the question is does the influence extend to his, his normal everyday life? And I think the answer to that is yes, it does. I think that he was told to fall in love with Wednesday or told to interact with Wednesday, and that was the natural progression of his character. I don't think necessarily that it was genuine. I think it was all a function of his what do you call it? His programming.
So is he going to be is he still going to be the baddie in season 2, you think?
I think it's going to be kind of like a Buffy and Angel type of thing where he's the bad guy in a way, but there's still going to be some type of like a connection between both of them.
He was able to persuade from the very beginning of pinning against Xavier. Like Xavier, I don't like him. I can't trust him. But Xavier also vice versa was saying like this guy I don't trust. So you always got the idea like this is like an arch nemesis between them two, Xavier and Tyler. And I like how they did flip me for a little bit of like how Tyler was able to convince, I think, Wednesday and put Xavier behind bars, right? Get him, like, trap him.
Set him up, yeah.
Set him up. I mean, the sheriff went all for it.
I guess what bothered me was, where's your end game there? Okay, so you played this trick where Xavier is captured. Where is your end game? Because Hyde is still going to come out. Hyde is still going to do something, and then Xavier is going to be exonerated. So
no.
I
don't think so.
No. The end game was basically the other person getting in episode 8. The main villain to abolish the whole fucking school and everything, like everyone, kill everyone.
Because here's
the
thing.
I get that point.
No, but here's the thing.
Why spend so much time trying to incarcerate Xavier? That's my question.
Because here's the thing. I think that what the idea is that as long as Tyler isn't, we're talking about the overall baddie, right? The Emperor Palpatine. As long as that person doesn't force Tyler to change, the idea was that he never would change into the Hyde. I think that's the idea. I'm not saying that's logical, but I think the idea is that would happen. So therefore, once Nevermore is destroyed and abolished and everything, then Tyler doesn't turn into the Hyde. Xavier gets the hit, he takes the fall, and then the two of them go off into whatever merry land that they want to go off into.
That argument is made somewhat weaker by the fact that they found a cave with monocles attached to the walls, indicating that he was going to turn no matter what. He was,
but it's practice. That was practice. So. That was practice. It's like training.
So I have a I don't know if it's an answer, but Wednesday knows that it's a partner, right? There's two, obviously. So Xavier is just half the battle. She knows that part. But capturing Xavier, I mean, you have to think, like, for me, she doesn't suspect Tyler because he's a normie, right? So she knows there's normies here. So Xavier, she suspects him more because he goes to the school. Maybe he has other powers that no one knows about. So she honestly thinks Tyler's just a regular dude who works at a coffee shop. So she has no business to suspect him that he's actually, so she overlooked the picture, right, with the fencing and seeing Tyler's mom and blah, blah, down the road, episode 8. But overall, like, so at this time, like, she only thinks Xavier because he goes to this school, right? And she just thinks that he has other powers on top
and
of his other powers.
Doesn't that show the others, right? The what are they called? The not the
normies?
No, the non-normies, whatever the fuck.
The dark shades,
the
night shades.
No, I was just saying the students, right? It just shows by having Xavier arrested for this crime, it just shows the students to be even worse in the eyes of everybody else, all the normies in the world. So I think it actually makes sense.
Yes.
And once Crackstone is brought back and the school is destroyed and Crackstone reigns supreme or whatever the hell that end goal was. I think that the idea was to skip town and basically let Nevermore burn, which works, and Xavier takes the whole hit.
Yeah, I mean,
exactly.
So I got that.
And the sheriff's happy.
Yeah.
So one of the aspects of this that I will say is positive about Fester's contribution to the of this episode is that he kind of played up the solo lifestyle and kind of, I think, made Wednesday question her decisions to be alone because she saw what it was doing to Fester and that Fester was kind of fucking insane and crazy and, like on the run constantly from criminals and blah, 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 or from the police. But I think that it did create kind of an element of questioning in Wednesday that made her then question everything she knew about both Xavier and
I like that.
Tyler.
I like that a lot.
I thought
That's
that was
a
kinda
Well,
interesting.
I
like that.
in the end of the episode, I mean, she decides to go to see Tyler. That was it.
And
You know,
she makes the
didn't want
move,
to be
man, to
alone.
kiss
She
her.
wanted to.
Kiss
She
her.
makes the move. Yeah, just fitting that the person she kissed is a psychopath killing monster. So it just kind of comes to full circle right there.
Yeah, it does.
Were you guys expecting that right away? Like knowing that, like, did you guys know it was Tyler before it was Tyler? Or were you thinking at this time, were you still thinking it was someone else?
No, I think I had a fucking feeling, man. The whole last episode where he came out of nowhere and he's like, "Oh, I'm all scratched up," right there, and then I was just like, "That is the fucking monster right there. You can't fucking buy that shit to me." Yeah,
Like, it hurts.
yeah. That hurts.
I started suspecting that it at least wasn't Xavier when he got the scratches on his neck, and then you found out why he had the scratches on his neck, and I'm like, okay. He's not creating the monster out of, it's like not a shadow monster. It's a real thing. We've seen it several times. So I didn't necessarily know it was Tyler, but I did know for quite certain it was not going to be Xavier.
Yeah. So so this is where my major frustration comes, and it really kind of hits its head in episode 8. So we'll get to that and talked about that, and I'll piss everybody off. But my problem with this is that when you have a mystery, right, a murder mystery or a mystery, you have to be giving some indication, some clues throughout. For me, it was like they wrote the episodes, each one, 1 through 6, basically. And they said, well, it could be this person, it could be this person, it could be this person. We're going to give every single one of them equal reason that it could be them. But they didn't even have an idea of what it is. And there needs to be breadcrumbs dropped, right? That kind of ties it to it. Yeah, I see what you're saying about the he shows up and he's got the scratches across himself and this idea that he cares about Wednesday and the the Hyde monster or the monster has protected her throughout all these things. I get that, but I also don't like the fact that it came out of nowhere, right? When we first meet Tyler, he's everybody's first suspect. Oh, it's got to be him because obviously it's got to be him. And then they try so hard to trick us into thinking it's not him that when it's him again, to me, it felt like a big underwhelming slap across the face.
You should always know that it's always the boyfriend that's the
it's
killer
always
in
the
every
boyfriend,
fucking horror
dude.
movie, dude.
It really is.
Come on, dude. I mean, he was like totally Billy Loomis, man, in this fucking episode, dude.
Was.
Or in episode 8. He was all screamed out.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
It is the first time that it's the first time that Wednesday I was reading that she actually smiled when she saw Uncle Fester. So that was cool to see him. Like, I don't know, I like him at parts, like what Sean was saying, and I never saw it that way, that he did bring out a side of Wednesday.
Well, I actually like the scene where things dying and you see just this
intense.
anger emotion. She's like, Thing, if you die, I will kill you. Just like that's the first thing that she could say. But then she goes on this like, whoever did this will fucking pay. Man, it was a nice scene to see that there was this anger that is going to drive her to the other side.
Yeah,
to figure out this.
I
whole
really
story.
did think that Thing was going to die. Did you guys think that Thing was going to stay dead? Or did you always know?
I thought he was dead. I was so upset. I was throwing my hands up. I'm like, I'm not done with the show. I'm not watching it anymore. I was pissed. I was fucking pissed.
Okay, well, I'm glad.
I can actually see that. I know. I can see that in my head. I've been there a few times with you when you just done shit like that. Like, I'm fucking done. I'm done.
You don't fuck with my stories. I mean, you guys just horrible. But no, I thought they did a really nice job with the Thing story arc, and saving him was the right thing to do, and very happy that they did that, because I would have been devastated. That would have been a show breaker for me. I don't know if I would have recovered. Honestly, I don't know if I would have recovered from that.
Yeah, well, I would agree.
Well, you want to talk about the next episode?
Yeah, I think we definitely need to talk about that, because a shitload happens.
Because
not all good.
Wednesday, I actually, we'll disagree to disagree, but I thought Wednesday, at the beginning of the episode, was pretty fucking psychotic, man. I mean, she was about to get all Saw on fucking Tyler right there, man. I mean, it was like,
I liked it. It was good.
She ain't fucking joking, dude.
A Murder of Woes. So this is like, it kind of leads off the last episode. Like, the way the other one ended was like, oh, it would be my first kiss, a psychotic path killer, like you were saying, Jeremy. So this one, it jumped off, and it instantly started with Tyler walking to like a
in the woods
some
and
type
shit,
of
dude.
like in the woods
Yeah.
and like a column area, like somewhere over there in Jericho, and you get the feeling right off the bat that Wednesday is up to something. She almost like wants to like like you were saying, kick some ass and take some names, and she's not alone, which I thought that was kind of cool. She
she's got the
actually
Scooby
has
gang.
her crew. Yeah.
Well, and that I think is the arch of the show that I really appreciated the most, is that she went from a loner, kind of unwilling to join any groups and be part of these groups, to having enough wherewithal to go to the headmistress and have a plan. Like I saw that coming, and I liked that plan. I liked that they were gonna. That she had enough faith in Wednesday, the headmistress did, to kind of give her the opportunity, and it showed that she had really true colors, and I like that. I like that aspect. Anyone else?
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting a little bit
No, I
ahead, but
actually
I
love this
really
episode.
love that the shape shifting, the fact that they've used that, at the end of that, I thought that was really great. But no, when we're talking about the torture scene, I really enjoyed seeing Wednesday unhinged, and I think that was something that we needed to see, because what it shows is that Wednesday, like you said, Sean, this is her character arc.
Wait,
the whole
was the torture scene
Right away.
right away.
Episode
So
8.
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought it was
in
at
the
the end of
beginning.
7. I'm so sorry. Okay,
No,
I'm
that's
so
okay.
sorry.
No, we're
I got a little lost.
No, that's okay. So no, but what I loved about it, and Sean, this is going along with what you're saying about her character arc and really her story arc, is that she doesn't want to feel, right? That's the whole thing, is she doesn't want to feel, but she feels so deeply. And like we've talked about, her feelings come out in different ways than normal people's. But what I love seeing that is that she was so determined, right?
Yeah, it almost feels like she that Tyler got the best out of her, and just the thought process, and she feels betrayed, man. And then you see her become, like, in a lot of ways, a fucking terrifying monster, man. You're just like, as a viewer, you're like, yo, are you gonna go fucking there? Is this where this show is gonna fucking go there? Because I'm expecting something's gonna happen, a finger, a toe, who's to say? But then
and it showed it showed all the way to like she was the most dangerous one out of the whole group, and her powers was like
she doesn't have like crazy powers. Yeah,
it's like and all the people, her nightshades, they were all like, hey, I didn't sign up for this. Like I wasn't like I didn't sign up to like kill someone here, but.
Yeah.
You get Tyler fighting back, and I had the feeling like this is where Tyler's really actually. I started to enjoy this part of Tyler of like a little bit more. At this when he was being tortured.
Oh, I thought you meant when he was coming to the in the police station and he comes up.
I like
to her.
that part.
We need to talk about.
I started liking it.
So wait, we got to talk about this, because Amanda and I actually had this debate about 20 minutes ago before we started recording, and we've got that moment where he says, "Hey, I need a minute with Wednesday," and he goes up to her and says, "How does it feel?" And she's like, "How's what feel?" And he says, "Being wrong." And then he turns into sinister, losing. That's what it was. And he turns into sinister fucker, right? And then he gets all glassy eyed and walks back all sad. Now Amanda's saying that she read that as he is part Hyde monster, but is basically coming back to himself as Tyler at the end, and that's why he's sad. I'm saying he's a fucking psychopath who is playing that sad character for the other people in the station. So, thoughts out there with you guys. Is he really a fucked up bad individual all the way through, or is there this delineation between Hyde monster and Tyler?
Is he bipolar?
I think the other side has actually kind of flipped around and shit like that since it's been released and whatnot.
So
and
he's sad then because he realizes that he cares about Wednesday, and
it's almost like Gollum, dude. Like it's Gollum and Smeagol and shit like that. Once Gollum comes out, dude, that's it.
I want to be known, first of all, that I always agree with Amanda no matter what.
Yeah,
but I'm trying to understand exactly what. I'm trying to understand exactly what you're saying. Are you saying that Tyler is always Hyde? That Hyde has overcome his personality, and that there's no, because that defeats the purpose. But that defeats the purpose of Jekyll and Hyde. Jekyll and Hyde is that he is two different personalities living in one body. So I think that there are moments when the Hyde personality exerts himself, and that's not always when he is the monster.
But by the time that we get to episode 8, by the time we get to episode 8, is that Dr. Jekyll version of Tyler? So the Tyler version, is it there, or has he become this sinister fucker? Whether we want to call it Hyde because he hasn't really fully turned back into the Hyde character, is Hyde in the mind?
He became the mother. He's not Norman Bates anymore. He's the mother now. Simple as that, dude.
So I agree with that. Is that what Amanda said?
No, that's what I said. She's the one saying.
Amanda was saying that he has a good side of him that actually cares for Wednesday. I think that's the act. I think that's all. I think you get that later in the episode too. You start seeing when they're back going to the where where they have the body parts around this. With this is I don't want to say the big reveal yet, but you get the idea. Yeah, you get the idea of like, okay, Tyler is actually, this is Tyler. I think at one point he mentioned when he first started changing at times, he didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's a psychopath and he was playing the part. He started tasting the blood. Yeah. And you get the idea too, this whole time you think, oh, well, why is he saving Wednesday then? He obviously likes Wednesday. No, he's saving Wednesday because he's told to save Wednesday till the very end from his boss. Just Wednesday's the blood of the Addams family.
Did you expect to be Christina Ricci?
No, I did not.
I was so disappointed. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my God, Sean, we're on the same side. Yeah.
I know. Because I love Christina Ricci. First of all, I think she's a wonderful actress, but it was also nice to have an OG character. I think I said this last fucking episode. I was like, with Christina Ricci, it's kind of obvious to make her this superarching villain. And here they go, making her the superarching villain. It's like, damn it.
I thought it was cool, man. I thought it was cool to see Wednesday versus Wednesday. I actually fucking was digging that,
Yeah, I like
and Christina was actually, fucking enjoying the shit of it, man.
I wish it had been the psychiatrist.
Badass in this.
I wish it had been the psychiatrist.
Me too.
It would have made way more sense.
I wish they did layers. I wish they would have done the psychiatrist, and beyond that is the so they set up for next season. So beyond that is the one pulling her strings. Within. I thought that would be kind of cool to keep that.
Or Eddie's talking brilliance.
They do.
Well, you kind of do have an idea of like how the season's going to end. Like, Sean, who's the fucking villain in Sherlock Holmes?
Moriarty.
It almost feels like there's a Moriarty in this series, that there's another person that's actually pulling the strings.
You do get the whiff of that. You definitely get the whiff of that as you go through, that there's someone else kind of hiding out there, kind of pushing people. But and this is my criticism of this show. I thought it got sloppy in the end.
Yes.
Crackstone bringing him back in a physical form was unnecessary.
Oh my God,
it was just like, I'm like, come on. Why are you ruining a great show with just stupidity? It just was stupid to me.
It wasn't stupid. They were foreshadowing the Frankenstein. I mean, Thornhill was talking about, Mary Shelley mentioned about Frankenstein and whatnot. I mean, it was almost like throwing that shit there. I thought that was fucking cool.
No, it was terrible. So I'm going to take a stand real quick.
That's the Bride of the Boogie there.
It was the Bride of the Boogie right there.
Here's my thing, and I know that this sounds really stupid, and it really sounds really hypocritical, because the whole show is about monsters and things at this academy, and you got vampires, and we're sitting there going like, oh, that makes total sense. But for me, when they took that transition into the supernatural, which I know, like I said, the whole thing's supernatural, I get it. But when they took the bad guy and Christina Ricci, the normie, going to the supernatural, it was literally
a normie.
Basic. Well, she was a normie who is going to.
She had a medicine that she was injecting. Yeah.
Okay, so but it was plant based. Right? It was plant based. But here's my thing: right.
Continue.
But what I'm saying is, for them to take, to me, it was like jumping the shark. It really was, to go to the full supernatural and bring back a ghost zombie thing, whatever we want to call it, from the different body parts that have been mutilated and removed. Yeah. I thought that it was like the Scorpion King at the end of Mummy 2, and it took me completely out of it. I want the bad person to be human. I think that was something that was necessary, and the fact that they went away from that, I really think is a problem.
Well, Christina Ricci was human.
What they could have done, which would have been, I love to sit back and write these shows over again. But what I would have done is I would have had the spirit of Crackstone inhabit a regular person, so
Even
that
better.
it's Crackstone reincarnated, as opposed to like, oh, here I am, like I'm gonna kill you all. Like, it just didn't work for me. It was like and that
So you
hat,
wanted to be
that
Tom
fucking
Riddle.
hat, like
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
it just didn't work. It would.
It wasn't. I agree. I was hoping for reincarnation with like go into like the body of
take
Christina
over
Ricci
Christina
or
Ricci's
something like
character,
that.
yes.
Take over something and have this all of a sudden she becomes powerful a little bit more, and and
Come on.
there's gonna be a battle in the courtyard, right? So it's like
Yeah.
everyone's waiting for that battle scene in the courtyard with Wednesday, and they did make Wednesday all of a sudden. I agree with you, Brandon. Like all of a sudden it went from like, okay, I know this is like non-believable. There's a hand walking around with no body here, but there's a fine line of all of a sudden now you were putting it
Crossed
just
it.
became really over
And
across that
wasn't-
line.
I think your fine lines are so fucking funny.
No, yeah.
It's just like
Well, there's a fine line, dude.
one thing that it would just pass it. You're like, that's it. I can't do it.
That's it.
Well, Wednesday
but
she died, right?
yes.
She died real quickly.
Yeah, but what?
Oh,
what-
Wednesday?
Okay, but
Oh,
here's the
no.
thing.
That she was dying.
Wasn't
but
the
the
courtyard
talisman,
battle?
man.
No, wasn't the courtyard battle? Wasn't that underwhelming? Like they built that up to be something great. You had all these students standing together, and all of a sudden it was just like, oh, it's over. There it is. And I'm not asking for Helm's Deep, but I'm asking for something.
I think you were asking for like Deathly Hollows, man. Shit.
Yeah,
I would have
think you're
taken
asking
that.
a little too much there.
It's the culmination of a season.
Don't get me
You don't have 8
started on
movies here. You have 8 shows.
and don't get me started how they ruined that scene in Hogwarts with Tom Riddle. Anyway, I don't agree with you, Brandon. It was not overwhelming or underwhelming. I thought it was the right amount of whelming. The problem with it is that they relied so much on the supernatural. It got kind of big. Make the plot small. Like if I can say anything to Hollywood, if I can say anything to anyone writing these shows, make the plot small, not big.
Maybe
Just
that's
make
what
it
it is,
about
Sean.
people
Yeah.
and the hatred of people, not about like, oh, I have the spirit of Crackstone is coming back to wreak havoc on Nevermore. Nobody cares. People would more care if she had poisoned the entire faculty and the entire staff and all the kids and was trying to like use her plants to destroy Nevermore that way.
Sean, you hit it.
But
yes.
I think you guys are missing the point of the show. It's not about all that stuff and all that jazz and whatnot. It's about, character arc. It's about like, these kids that are actually learning to actually find out who they are in the meeting of friendship and everything that coming together.
By
at the end,
taking it to
She's
the
related to Crackstone, right?
Yeah, but by taking it away
He's related to
from by taking it to the supernatural, you're taking it away from the characters. And Sean, Joe, you're right. Is that and this is what Amanda said to me too. Is I wish they focused more on the people at the end. And that's the thing is they don't. They try to go too much. And I guess that's what the underwhelming is that we lose so much of the character focus. And I think that I've said this last week too, is that to me, one of the biggest frustrations I have of this whole show is that we don't know enough about these other supporting characters. All we get is Wednesday. And I love Wednesday. Jenna Ortega is amazing. And I'm not going to ever say anything negative about it, but I do say we need to know more about these other supporting characters. Eugene, who the fuck knew that he had B power? Like that was actually his power
Control B
until the end, right? Who knew? And who knows? We don't even know what Xavier really can do. And I think we do need to establish that.
You got the tip of the iceberg, but I mean, when you think about this, man, like you saw all these people that Wednesday was like not even socialized, just wasn't even given the time of day, come to her rescue in the end. That these
But
people
besides
cared
Enid,
about
I don't
Wednesday
know
at
any
the
of
end,
them.
and that's what it is.
No, but I agree.
The vampires could have had more of a story.
Yeah.
I feel
agree
like they
with-
just
hold on.
lacked.
Let Jeremiah finish because I agree with him 100%. Go ahead, Jeremiah.
No, I'm just saying, like, that's the whole point of that you saw each of these characters come to the rescue for Wednesday to save Wednesday. If it wasn't Xavier, it was Bianca. It was Bianca, then you finally got to see her friend wolf transformation and whatnot and actually save the fucking
That was
day.
nice.
And
Which
I'll
is
tell you this
badass.
much, man, that hug at the end between those two roommates, man, I mean, shit, dude, that said everything regarding to friendship, sacrifice, and love. And that was the kind of the story arc that you got at the end of the season. It actually came to full circle regarding to what happened.
I like that part with the roommate Enid. I think
Enid.
they're yeah.
That was
But
a
I
tough
do
one.
feel like the rest of them. I do feel like the rest of the the Scooby Gang was like a whacked X-Men. Like all of a sudden, everyone's showing their powers. Like, like you have the bee guy, then you have Bianca, and then you have like everyone, and then you have the guy with the Medusa hair. Like all of a sudden, everyone's like showing these powers and become like a little Power Ranger gang. I thought it was a little. It was. I
agree with you, Ed.
It wasn't necessary. I felt like maybe Bianca helped with a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
Bianca took a sword to Joseph.
Yeah, I like that. So I said maybe have Bianca help and have the werewolf transformation. But everyone, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't like Eugene's part. Like that felt like it came out of left field with the bees. You knew it was coming too, because he was like going after.
I'll tell you what it is, Eddie. And it's the same problem that the DC universe has. Okay, you've got Superman, who is the all-powerful, and they try to match the power with a villain that is equal to or more powerful than the people trying to defeat the villain. And so you've got this power on power end, and it's like, who's more strong? Who's more powerful? Who can defeat who? And the brilliance of Lex Luthor, for instance, as a villain, is that he knows he's not as strong as Superman. So he attacks different aspects of Superman that have nothing to do with his power. One of the brilliant parts about Harry Potter was that Harry Potter and Voldemort at the end, it was about learning secrets and deep magic and understanding truth, not who was the better wizard. What this became was who had enough power to defeat Crackstone. And that is where you're like, you know what? I don't really care. I don't really care about the bee powers. I don't really care about these different powers. I more care about a more sophisticated ending where, you learn things. That's what I think episode 5 had, where they went back and they figured out about the parents. And so was that episode 5?
Yeah, that's 5.
Where you had like that super serum, and you learned like a truth beyond a truth beyond a truth. That's what I was expecting from this episode, and they did not deliver that. They didn't deliver that oh shit, like they didn't give you that.
Well, I mean, you guys are talking about they were using the powers. I mean, they didn't defeat the powers with like Joseph Crackstone. They actually just killed him with the black heart, with the sword. They stabbed. There was no powers to it,
Yeah, but
so
I feel like... Go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's just like I don't understand where you guys like. Oh, they got all X-Men out. There was no one using their powers, not one, except for for one getting all like wolfed out and whatnot. That was the only person.
Eugene used his bees.
Yeah, against Christina Ricci, not Joseph, actually.
No, I understand the concept, but it was still like it was not. They weren't defeating secrets. They were defeating like who was strong enough to defeat Crackstone. That was the question. Yeah. Like, I mean, Crackstone basically killed Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then Wednesday killed him with a sword into the heart. I mean, it actually came to full circle to see her skills as a fence person.
Yeah, I'm just not gonna get that. Like, he killed Wednesday so quickly in that first couple scenes. He's too powerful. Like, no one could realistically, no one at that school could defeat this Crackstone guy. I wouldn't
say he's too powerful. I mean, he is only like a fucking pilgrim. It's not. He's from a demon spawn.
I was arguing with Sean. Like they Hollywood. I don't know. They're just trying to make this epic villain, and they would have been cool to have like maybe just Christina Ricci get the souls inside her now of Crackstone, and now she's just trying to kill.
That would have been badass.
Serum.
There it is.
That would have been cool. But you got Christina Ricci being Lex Luthor,
or Christina Ricci changes 2 of the students to control a little bit. I don't know,
if that would have happened, you guys would have had a condition fit on that fucking show.
I don't like it. No, I would have loved it. I don't like
this guy. He became too powerful. I just didn't believe it. I just feel like he's too strong.
Brandon, close your ears, Brandon. Don't listen to this part. Like, literally take your headphones out. Because we can all agree that when in Game of Thrones, when you found out who really killed Joffrey, what are you taking your headphones off?
Eddie hasn't.
Give me a damn thumbs up when I can listen to this.
No, when you finally found out who killed Joffrey, it was like this revelation, and it was such a small scene, right? It was. Do you remember the scene, Jeremiah? You remember that scene? It was such a small little intimate scene.
It was fucking great, but you got to remember, man, you're building up from season to season to season. We have to figure out this is just one episode, one season, dude.
Can he come back now? Okay,
yeah,
you can come back. Yeah,
cool.
Hey, I don't know, man. Yeah. I think there's a super more powerful villain, which is probably just a regular person probably Sean's Lex Luthor, type of a vibe and shit like that. That's actually pulling the strings, and
So
that's what I think.
on that note, okay. So before we wrap things up here, we have to talk about the ending. We have to talk about the text that she gets, which I don't know. Seeing Wednesday with a cell phone kind of pissed me off. But what do you guys think? Is it a student? Is it a faculty member? Is it somebody that we've already met? Who is going to be the next bad guy or gal? That
Are you saying that who's going to be what's going to happen to season 2?
Yeah, that's my way of saying it. Yeah.
The mom's still alive. That's what I think. Of Tyler. Tyler's mom's still alive.
The Hyde?
From the Hyde.
The OG Hyde?
I think it's her. The OG Hyde. I think it's going to be her coming back in, and she has more of a calling of I don't know. I think she's going to come back out.
Okay. I think it's a misdirection. I think the person who is reaching out is actually going to be an ally, and I think it's going to be a new teacher or a new headmistress or headmaster. I think they really need to expand the story beyond just Wednesday.
I like that.
I actually think it's going to do something with a cast member from or a character from Addams Family, like Cousin It. Maybe Cousin Id's actually going to help her out this time around. Or, maybe they go to a different school. And Nevermore and someone else, another.
Maybe 4 schools battle each other for a cup.
Oh, see, look at that.
Maybe one of them is underwater.
Harry Potter out.
Bianca did say, I'm going to get that trophy next year, so don't be, or the fencing, something like that. She was just like, hey, we're cool, but we're not don't be too cocky, which...
I mean, who says it? And who says any of the next season takes place at school too? It could take place in the summer. Who knows?
Yeah,
they could take it in the streets of San Francisco.
Who knows?
Yeah,
I really want to see Addams Family Manor. I want to see the house.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah,
I think that the important thing, and I get that the show is Wednesday and the focus is Wednesday and that the actress is perfect as Wednesday, but we need to really establish ourselves in the family. And I don't know where I read it, but one of the thoughts was to bring Morticia in as the new headmistress, which would bring Pugsley in as a student. I think that would be actually really badass.
Oh, okay.
Don't like it?
We'll see about that one.
Why don't you like that?
Because I think that that the character that is the best of this show is Morticia, and it's because we have seen the least of her. It's because she doesn't get on your nerves. She just kind of floats in, has some wonderful lines, and floats out. She's not serious. She's not deep. I don't want to ruin her character. I want to just keep it exactly the way it is.
He wants to keep it in 1992.
I do. I want to keep it with the streak of light across her eyes. I wish I had more time for, channeling the dark arts.
And that brings us to the inner review. Now it's time in the podcast where each of the hosts provides a score on the following scale. Eddie, can you provide the scale, please?
0, the perfect movie. You don't need shit to enjoy it. 1, a feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, you're going to Uber or Lyft home. 4, rough morning walk of shame. 5, blackout, shit-faced, spring break drunk. Gentlemen, let's start with Sean.
All right, so I did not much care for this particular episode, and I think a lot of it had to do with, we're talking about episode 7, Fester. I thought Fester was a wasted character, a wasted storyline. I thought now watching it again and kind of going through it, in the last couple of episodes, Eddie and Brandon had said something that I think rings more true. The pacing was off on episode 5 and 6, and 7, they were like, oh shit, we have to go reveal a bunch of stuff. Let's add an Infester to kind of help the plot line and introduce a new character. Because when your story gets stale, there's 2 things you could do. Kill somebody or introduce someone new. And so they decided to introduce someone new, and it didn't quite work for me. I'm gonna give this episode a 3. It's worse than average. I think Fester kind of ruined it, but I mean we talked about it. We talked about it enough. But that's my score, 3. Jeremiah. Good.
All right, guys. Well, I actually thought this episode was not that bad. I actually rewatching it, seeing Fester, I kind of got it, man. He's just fucking psychotic, and it's kind of weird. And he was there to help Wednesday to get kind of help her through this hard situation that she's experiencing, with the knowledge that she was able to gain. And the end actually was a good surprise. I mean, I kind of figured it out, but the kind of revelation to it, you're just like, fuck, okay, so here it's gonna go. So I actually thought it was a good, I don't know, I think it's a good track in a record album. Like, it's not the first song, it's not the third song, it's not the last song, it's just a song to get to the other song. So I didn't have a problem with it, man. I think it was just an average fucking episode. So it's a 2.5 for me, guys. Eddie, go for it.
I'll draw nets. Yeah, I'll draw nets. I feel like this series, Wednesday, shot their load too quick. And I feel like, episode, and I look at the scores on IMDb, and I was hoping for the tail end to bring up some type of just to bring it home finally. I knew these were the last two episodes, so I was hoping something more going into this. I knew Fester was coming, so I was waiting for that. You have Wednesday, this character who's just holds the camera so well, and Fester, like I think everyone was saying, Sean was saying earlier, that it was like they rushed it and it just didn't have a good enough backing of a story. I did enjoy moments that he was on the screen with, and he developed Wednesday quickly, but I think it goes back to how I felt about 5. It was just too late for me. And for me, it was just also like I could have possibly held without him in the story, or I don't know. It felt like it was forced to have him in there because we needed him there because he's part of the Addams family. I just don't see. I think the best part about this episode for me personally was the big reveal. So it was 40 minutes of me just bouncing around like who done it, and then the very end, boom, like, oh, it's this guy. So it just didn't hit long term with me. I think this had so much potential, but it just didn't hit. So I'm at 2.75. I think you guys are real close to the same score as I was thinking. This is just below an average episode for me. I think you have to have it, but I think it could just be wrapped up with episode 6 almost. So 2.75. Brandon?
Yeah, so I will be nice and say that this episode was an extreme disappointment. These 2 episodes were extreme disappointments to me. And I was trying to figure out why I was so angry last night, and I went to bed like upset. And I'll talk about it more a little bit when we get to 8. But it's because I had such high expectations and hopes for Wednesday as a show, and I feel like they just didn't get to what they could have gotten with this show. As soon as I saw Fester, I was excited, and as soon as Fester opened his mouth, I was disappointed. And unlike what Ed said, where there's some good, to me, there was absolutely nothing good about Fester. If you ever take a writing course or a creative writing course or anything like that, one of the biggest things they say to stay away from is exposition dumps, where you basically just throw a bunch of information at the reader or the viewer because you need to get that information out, and it's easy. And that's exactly what Fester was, right? We've had 6 episodes of who done it, what's going on, murder mystery. We've got these, snap twice to open up extra rooms. Yeah. And all of a sudden he walks and he's like, oh, that's a hide. And we're supposed to be like, oh my God, look at that. Bullshit. She needs to find that shit out on her own. Find the book, find a missing chapter. I don't know what it was, but Fester was this easy option for them. And it pissed me off, right? To me, this was not an average episode. This was a much lower episode, and it's almost like, Sean, you were talking about pacing. You're right. It's like they had such slow pacing that they realized that they needed to speed it up. What they actually needed to do was to keep that same pacing and add in an extra episode and let it be a 9-episode season, because then they could have developed this reveal. To me, so basically I'm just going to keep rambling, but I won't ramble anymore. To me, this was a 3.5. It was a below average.
Isn't it really funny how writers and producers do exactly the wrong thing at the wrong time? They do the exact opposite of what they should. Like, every time they feel like they need to speed up, they go too fast, and they don't. Whatever the decision made is just, it doesn't work.
And it's easy to armchair quarterback.
It's too late.
Yeah, it's easy to armchair quarterback,
no, I'm not
right?
That. I'm just...
But no, and you're
right.
You're absolutely right. And that's the thing that we have, we have the opportunity to sit back and say, ooh, I wish they had done it differently. When you're in the writing chair, or the directing chair. It is different, but at the same time, maybe we should learn. We, the collective, creators of the world, should learn to fix these mistakes before they happen because they are so common.
That's the difference. I also want to say that's the difference between the writer and then actually put it on screen. The writer is probably writing this, and then all of a sudden they put it to film, and somebody's like, "Fuck, man, you got so close to what I was trying to do, and you fucked it up the very last couple scenes."
Do you think it's because of Tim Burton not being actually involved in the last 4 episodes?
Oh my God, yes.
It? Yeah, you think might be the issue?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Ed. I didn't mean to interrupt you on that one. Go ahead, Eddie. When you take those scores and divide by 4, what does episode 7 of Wednesday get us?
It gives us a 2.9375.
2.9375.
Yep.
Jeremiah, where does that put us on the list of episodes we've reviewed thus far?
For the series for Wednesday, it is the last episode.
Yeah.
It is ranked last. Yeah. So it's pretty nasty.
As Sean would say, that's about where it should be. Yeah.
All right, episode 8. You want to start there?
It would be. Is it me? Oh God. Okay, so so I mean, in that case, just to continue and reiterate what I was saying, that I was left with a disappointed taste in my mouth. I thought that the show was trying to steer us in too many directions. I think that when you have a mystery, and I get that this is part of the mystery, but at the same time, when you have a mystery and you don't give any indication, any clues, instead, you're constantly trying to misdirect. It just pisses me off. I wanted there to be a little bit more of like, oh yeah, of course, Tyler. Oh yeah, of course, it's Thornhill, Ricci's character. I thought that the CGI, reenactment of whatever of Crackstone was pathetically wasted. I thought that we missed out on really caring about any character besides Enid. Yeah, Enid turned into a wolf, and that was great, and I was rooting for her the whole time. And I love Enid as a character. I love Wednesday as a character. I love Jenna Ortega and whoever plays Enid. I love them as actors and actresses. But ultimately, this show culminated in a big flop and disappointment. I know that they're setting up season 2, and of course it's going to do great, and of course I'll watch it, and I'm guessing that we'll probably be reviewing it. But at the same time, am I sitting there itching to see season 2? Not a damn chance. Okay. Honestly, season 2 is going to be a take it or leave it for me. I'll watch it, but I'm not going to love it. I'm not going to look forward to it and expect to love it. So I guess if I were just to like sum up the entire series or season for me, and for episode 8, it's just disappointing. It had, to me, so much potential that just was not met. So, it's a below average episode. It's a below average show. I'm giving it a 3.85. I think it's not quite a 4. I don't think it's a terrible one. If you're really asking why 3.85, why not 3.75? Honestly, it's to piss Jeremy off. That's all it is. So I'm going with a 3.85 to piss Jer off, and I believe it's going to Thing, which is Ed. You're the next one.
Yes. Thank you. So I did. I was thinking like, okay, this is episode 8. This is after a long, 8 episodes of watching this, and I think I came to, to what I was expecting. After watching Stranger Things, the last couple seasons, the way they ended was so epic. From episode 4 on, they just after one after another, like these were hit records that they were producing.
Yes,
and it just didn't do it for me. Like everyone's comparing this to Stranger Things. Stranger Things knocks this out of the park. Like this is a good show. Is it a great show? No, it had you a couple episodes. I don't think it should be more than 2 seasons. Like if they keep pushing this out, then they're going to ruin Wednesday and the whole Addams Family. That vibe. I do like Jenna Ortega, and I think if she's smart, get out after next season and just call it wraps and just move on for her next career. I was also, even Obi-Wan Kenobi, like it's just like these last 2 other seasons or shows we watched, they were just ended so well. And this one I was expecting this like big like battle scene, and instead it became Eugene controls bees, and I just wish it would have stayed a little bit more believable, even though I don't know that's possible. I like how the roommates came together at the very end. The theme also was there, and always kind of like watching Wednesday's back. I like the idea of Xavier kind of wraps up and becomes, hey, you're coming back next year. You got this little romance build up for season 2. Like there's little parts here I was enjoyed. I think it was better than episode 7. It wrapped it up as best it could with the shit show 7 was. So I'm gonna say this was just an average ending of the whole series, but I would say this is a 2.5. 2.5. Jeremiah.
Got it. So I had a different reaction to this episode. I actually thought it was fun. I thought actually all the secrets and all the mysteries that were revealed actually kind of put everything together, and I was actually really enjoying it, man. I mean, it was really fun to see Wednesday finally coming to the conclusion and actually kind of like, figuring out the situation and having her friends caring about her and actually fighting the same fight that she's been trying to save and whatnot. I actually really enjoyed the shit out of it, man. I thought Christina Ricci and Jen Ortega were fucking great. It was great to see Wednesday fighting each other. It was great to see the torch passing to one another. I do admit that the monster was not scary at all. It was kind of fucking just like horrible CGI shit.
Yeah.
I would like it to be more of a natural like serial killer or someone actually doing some shit like that. That would have been more interesting.
Or the monster with the big eyes?
The monster with the big eyes. I think that's just since the first episode, it was just like it was not fucking scary at all. So what this episode did for me is like, you know what? I'm down to see season 2 if it makes it, But I actually thought it was an overall strong episode. We'll see what happens with season 2. I think it's going to be fucking interesting. So for me, it's a 1.75.
I don't know if you were disgusted or trying to sneeze there, Brandon. You okay?
No, God, my fucking dog just ripped one like I've never smelled before. So I'm sorry. It's awful. I can't. I'm sorry. Whew.
1.75, Jeremy?
Yeah, 1.75.
All right, I'll finish this out here. So I thought the first part of this episode, you kind of come off the Hyde character reveal, the change of the entire Tyler character, the sinisterness, the villainous. Then you have kind of Jenny Ortega Wednesday teaming up with the headmistress to trick Christina Ricci. Yeah. I thought that this episode had the makings of putting all the best pieces of this show together in a beautiful way. Yep. And quite frankly, it missed in 8 minutes. 8 minutes was just trash. And they took the easy way out, and they relied on Cragstone, they relied on CG, they relied on a bunch of different things that I don't blame them, because it seems like it would be an easy, popular choice. It's big, it's bold, here's what we're doing. But it just didn't hit for me. And I think I'm not going to perhaps go as harsh as the rest of the crew here, only because I think the show has great roots. Great roots, great bones, great acting. I think that it has something that a lot of other shows wish they had, which is a water cooler following, how do you say it, Jeremiah? Joie de vivre, like a feeling to it, like a
cult.
It has a cult following, man.
Right? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it has.
I get what you're saying, though.
That element to it, and that is so hard to establish. So I am looking forward to them turning and maybe getting a little bit more serious with season 2, a little bit more Agatha Christie, a little bit more.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, a little bit more. I would love for the entire season to take place on like going to school on a train. Like that would be badass. Like that's what I'm looking for, is a small. By saying that, Brandon, I'm looking for a small, compact story that you condensed that isn't based on supernatural, but based on human characteristics, and that to me is really what I thought the show was going to be at the beginning. So I'm going to give this a 1.25. I think that it was a satisfying end. It gave me answers to all the questions. My problems were with 8 minutes. And I'm not going to hold those 8 minutes and destroy an entire show over 8 minutes. So that's just where I'm going to stand. And Eddie, when you take those scores and divide by 4, what does episode 8 get us an average score of?
It gives us a 2.3375. 2.3375.
And Jeremiah, where does that put us on the list of movies or of episodes that we've reviewed?
4th, I'm guessing.
It's ranked 6 actually out of 8 episodes. So worst of it is episode 1, and then episode 7 is the last one actually.
So if you add all those episodes together, Eddie, and divide them by 8, what does Wednesday get a series score of?
I really hope Brandon's right on this one because I butchered it somehow. So 1.8125.
1.8125.
Which is, it's close to a 2. And I think that's a realistic spot. Just, for me, I think it's close to a 2. It's a 1.8.
Jeremy, tell me that's not better tell me that's worse than all the other television shows we've done.
No, he's saying that it's an average show. That's not an average show. It's a below average show.
So our number 1 shows right now is Stranger Things, Volume 4. It was ranked number 1. 0.78 for the series average.
Fuck yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi average 1.025. That's the second best. And Wednesday comes right below. Number 3, which is not a bad score, 1.813. So you know what?
It's a little high. I mean, it is a little better than it needs to be. I feel like it maybe should have been like around a closer to a 2.5.
Should have been like a 2.6.
You're just saying that because of the last 2 episodes. Actually, when you think about it, episode 6, episode 4, 3, 2. I mean, these were some good episodes.
And the reason we do this methodology is because it's blind, Eddie. You didn't know the end when you were in the last 2 episodes when you were reviewing episode 4 or 5. So it really was an honest take at it. So
yeah. I mean, I would watch it. Realistically, I would watch this again, and I'm looking forward to season 2.
Oh, I am too. If you enjoyed our review or a fan of the podcast, we ask you please subscribe wherever you're listening and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Physical reviews are very much appreciated. And you can find us on Instagram at the.gentlemanpodcast. The dot means a lot. You can visit our website at thegentlemanpodcast.com, or if you want to reach out to us by email, you can do so at hosts with an S, HOSTS, at thegentlemanpodcast.com. That kind of wraps up our season for 2022. I want to thank you, wish you a happy new year coming up, and we're preparing diligently for season 4. We're going to start releasing episodes in January. Super excited about the lineup we've got coming up, and just wanted to wish you all a happy holidays. Thank you so much for listening. We appreciate your listening so much. And with that, we're doing a final cheers of 2022, and we'll see you in 2023. Cheers,
which will be like next week.
Cheers,
guys.
Cheers.
Did you break your glass?
At some point, he's going to shatter it. He really is.